multiple explosions just minutes ago near the Gaza Strip as the Islamic terrorists draw blood closer to the border with Israel. Multiple attacks there, claiming the lives of at least 50 Egyptian soldiers. It is a quickly developing story. More information inside America's newsroom.
ISIS has claimed responsibility for a series of attacks in Egypt that killed at least 20 security forces and wounded at least 30 others. The attacks happened earlier today at security checkpoints in the Sinai Peninsula. We're going to continue to follow this story and, of course, bring you more details as soon as we get them.
Islamic terrorists are launching attacks against the Egyptian military today. 50 soldiers are reported dead. The terrorist army's Sinai branch, which has been very active, using car bombs to hit 15 military outposts, 2 checkpoints destroyed, and minutes ago more explosions were heard near the Gaza Strip. We are back on that story as we get more developments out of Egypt.
Multiple explosions rocking Egypt near the Gaza Strip. Islamic militants unleashing a wave of attacks, killing at least 50 people in Egypt today. All of this as terrorists are pledging their allegiance to ISIS, now even targeting Hamas in multiple attacks across the Gaza Strip. Pete Hegseth served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's the CEO for the Concerned Veterans of America and a Fox News contributor. Pete, good morning. Good to have you with us today.
Good morning.
You know, you think about al-Sisi, the president of Egypt, who spoke out so strongly against ISIS and wanted us to forcefully respond to these Islamic militants. Now he's got these serious problems at home, Pete.
Boy, he sure does. It got worse under Mohammed Morsi before they deposed him. And now you've got in the Sinai Peninsula, they've got a fight on their hands, an all-out internal civil war with remnants of the Muslim Brotherhood, with ISIS that are trying to roll back the Egyptian military, which has had an ongoing offensive in the Sinai Peninsula. Now you're hearing reports even of ISIS-inspired, not necessarily ISIS branches, but ISIS-inspired attacks on Hamas in the Gaza Strip, which is all of this ties back to Raqqa. It ties back to Syria, it ties back to ISIS and the sort of bleeding heart of hate that keeps beating out of Syria. And as a result, the momentum and the sense of momentum builds, and you've got emboldened Islamists in the Sinai Peninsula, you've got emboldened Islamists taking on Hamas, the group that wants to wipe Israel off the map. And that's how radical these guys are and how emboldened they are. And right now, we should be supporting folks like al-Sisi trying to take them on in the Sinai Peninsula.
And what are we doing?
Not a whole lot. I mean, we've ever since Morsi was removed and the military took over and Sisi took over. We have had our hands-off policy because, well, Morsi was democratically elected and al-Sisi is effectively came into power under a coup. So Obama has held back in the support of a guy who is clearly now declaring war on ISIS, declaring war on Islamists, just like King Abdullah, just like other moderate Muslims in that region who they may not be Democrats, small d Democrats who love freedom, but you know what they hate is the idea of radical Islamists running that area, which is something we need to be supportive of at this point.
You know, when you look at the map, you've got Iraq, you've got Syria, you have Egypt, you have Libya, right? You know, if this were, you know, sort of going around the curve here, and you look at Jordan, our ally, you look at Israel, our ally. I mean, you know, what happens, Pete, if they're going after Hamas, and as you point out, these are Islamists who feel that other Islamic radicals are not quite tough enough, not quite brutal enough to be in their club. So now they're going to go after Hamas and say, you guys are wusses. You're out of here. We are now the top Islamists in this region, and you better be as brutal as we are if you want to be part of our club. So what happens when there is an errant strike, when something hits Israel in the course of this battle, Pete?
Well, I think in some ways those ISIS-affiliated groups in Gaza want that, and so that's why Hamas is cracking down. I mean, Hamas isn't at risk of being removed or supplanted at this point, but there is a risk of these ISIS-affiliated folks both fighting Hamas, but also firing rockets into Israel and instigating that kind of battle. What you've got with these ISIS-inspired people are folks who don't even recognize the Treaty of Westphalia. They don't recognize the modern nation state. They don't recognize all of the formulations. They believe in a worldwide caliphate. caliphate. And our allies in Egypt and in Jordan and in Israel, all of these other ones, you know why they haven't banded together yet to fight ISIS the way they should? Because we're at the table in many ways trying to negotiate with Iran and codify a bomb with their avowed enemies in the Persians without really understanding the consequences of what that is doing to our ability to fight ISIS in a coherent way. Why don't we have Arab armies taking on ISIS? Because they're more worried about our capitulation with the Iranians and the long-term consequences. So they're preparing for a civil war with the Shia as opposed to dealing with this ISIS Salafist threat that seeks to establish a caliphate across the Middle East. This is a problem of, in many ways, our own doing, and our weakness and our lack of leadership is pulled the cover off of this powder keg. And you're seeing the results right now. When Hamas is being challenged by ISIS, you know how bad it really is.
And when you see that the people who killed the people on the beach and in the museums in Tunis were trained in Libya, you got to wonder when that is going to be exported, God forbid, to our shores as well.
It's not about nation states
who
for
think
them.
And those who think that this is a problem for them over there may feel quite differently about it. Pete, thank you very much.